What is going on, everybody? We got 19 in here right now. I'll wait for the rest to trickle in before we start things. I think we're on the clock in a few drafts, at least maybe three. All right, we're on the clock in 8 drafts. All right, I was going to wait a second to maybe do some of these, but maybe we just kind of blow through these here. So I'll make these picks. I think this week we're going to do one draft. I went through 3 of them at the same time last week. Might go back to that next week. I don't know. It was kind of fun to do, but I think just one this week. That means questions can cycle through as well, because I didn't answer questions like during the stream last time because we were doing 3 drafts at the same time. This week, I'll try and, answer questions as they flow through. So literally anything that is on your mind, throw it in the chat. I'll try to answer those questions. But until we see those roll in, excuse me, until we see those roll in, we'll make some picks here on, I guess it was like 7 or 8 that I'm on the clock in, and then we will do a Best Ball Mania draft after that. So we got Kelsey at 7, Pollard at 18 in this one. Interesting. Let's vote on this one. Who should I go with at this spot? I will do whoever is voted for, we'll say 4 times. Whoever gets 4 votes first, between, let's say, Mark Andrews, Debo, and Ridley. I would say would be the 3 I'd be okay with there at that spot. My lean is to have fun with this one. Take Mark Andrews, double elite tight end. Obviously not take another tight end after that. I feel like I don't have very many, but again, whatever comes up first. Andrews, Ridley, Andrews gets the 4th one in right before Ridley. We're going for it. All right. It's a fun build, You're kind of hoping for a scenario where it's like you advance, one of them just drops like 2 nukes in a row, then does nothing after that, and the other one goes off. But regardless, we're going to have a big edge at tight end in that one. If we get any more of those decisions, I will not obviously take both. I think I probably have like 2. I finished 81, I think, Best Ball Mania drafts, and I'm on the clock in 20. Not like actively, but like, I'm in 20 right now. So we've got 50 left. But among those 81, I think I've only actually done that like 1 or 2 times. So not too many. And yes, all the ones we're drafting here, I'm pretty sure. I guess I'll check before clicking the button next time. But most of these are Best Ball Mania. I have a few of the Slow Puppy. That's now closed. But when that was up, I entered a few of those. So some of them are that. But I'm pretty sure this one's Best Ball Mania. So keep that in mind. All right. JT, who I've moved down in the rankings a little bit today. I'm just getting a little bit more hesitant. Again, my guess is that he's playing, but I don't know if they're going after Kareem Hunt right now, if he's going to join the team. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit more scared, and just enough to move him down just a little bit, but I ended up taking him. Because it's a slow draft. That was probably like 3-4 days ago. So JT, Mixon, Jefferson, Higgins, and Hopkins. All right, that's a good start. We're at pick 72. Pierce definitely on the radar. We have 2 picks here with the turn. So I think I want to split this. I would take Goddard if I had Hurts. I don't have Hurts. I think I want to split it between Addison and Pierce. I definitely want Pierce. Pierce is one of the picks. I really think Pierce is going to be good. Also with that potential of, JT maybe not starting the season. It'd be nice to have, 2 quality backups after him. So why don't we do that? We'll go with those 2. Beautiful. So, all right, so this one's a puppy. So it's a $5 buy-in. Obviously, we're just treating it the same way. We got Lamb. We got Garrett Wilson. I tweeted out the other day. Someone made a tweet about like what percentage they have in the first round. I was like, oh, cool. I'll tweet that out. I have 1% CeeDee Lamb. I did not realize that. So I've been trying to at least lean a little bit more towards him, because it's like you look at the first round and it's like I kind of have all the rankings the same, but then like, wide receiver here, I think because I had Adams 17. Because I had Adams so high, it was bumping down my exposure to Garrett Wilson and CeeDee Lamb, because I was basically always taking Adams. I think I'm going to start kind of flip-flopping Adams, Lamb, Garrett Wilson, and just try and get like even amounts at that turn, because I don't think they're different enough where I should go all in on one of them. So at 36, another turn pick. I don't know why I have so many turn picks here. Easy choice here, not even having running back yet, is Jahmyr Gibbs. The question, I guess, would be, I'll do another vote on this one too. It's going to make me harder to scroll through all the questions, but we're definitely doing Gibbs. Would you take Judy or Lamar? I think those are the only two we consider. You could argue Najee wouldn't be a bad pick to double dip there, but definitely doing Gibbs. First to 4 votes between Jerry Jeudy and Lamar Jackson. And as you guys vote, I'll try and answer a question on the left. Could Algier and Patterson eat into Bijan's workload? To a degree, yeah. I think Algier obviously more on early downs, Patterson more on like receiving downs, but it's more that like they're just going to be like weapons for the team, right? Bijan can't get 500 touches, so they're going to have to use other players, and their wide receiver core is pretty trash. So if they happen to use Patterson a little bit as a receiver, that's not really hurting Bijan as much as it would on like other teams having like running backs get volume. They're still kind of thin at skill players, so I don't think it's something to worry about. All right, the vote is Lamar by a mile. Only one person voted for Jeudy, so we are going to grab Lamar, and we'll obviously target say Flowers, we'll target Odell, a little bit less on Bateman, but Bateman, if he's a good value, maybe we can go after, want to blank on the name, Isaiah Likely, in the later rounds. All right, coming through these. Actually, the next 3 that I do are going to be slow puppies. I didn't realize I was in so many of those. Oh, well, that's an easy one. There we go, Jamar Chase. All right, that one was simple. Next up here, we got a bigger team here. We've got Herbert. Do we have a stacking partner yet? Herbert and Mike Williams. Beautiful. Trevor Lawrence with Evan Ingram. Okay, nice. And we've already got 2 tight ends, so we're set there. Dobbins, Pacheco, Pirine. So thinner at running back. Cup, Olave, Mike Williams, and Dobbs. It's actually a relatively even build. I don't even say I'm that thin at running back, but like obviously we haven't invested highly. 68 was our first pick. We're at pick 140. No, we're not taking running back at this spot. Absolutely not. Okay, Rondell's not a bad value here and top in the rankings. We're not doing tight end. We're not doing quarterback. Okay, well, that one kind of made our decision for us. Let's do that one. Only a few more left, and then we will hop on into the Best Ball Mania draft. And I will answer more questions, I promise. Why is Jerome for? Oh, he had the injury, right? Yeah, what do we got here? Hamstring injury. It doesn't say anything new. Awesome. From my understanding, it's not a major injury, but you would have liked to see Jerome Ford get a little bit of work in preseason, see that he's like good to go, see that he's looking good. Like, because, he doesn't have that many career touches, right? So it would have been nice to see him in the preseason, but we'll see. But again, we're pick 192. What do I really want? Oh, here's the thing, though. JT, Mixon, Dobbins, A-Chain, and Mostert. Do I even want another running back? I think it's probably worth it. Then 17, 18, probably go with wide receiver in both of them because we're going to need... I guess we have Jefferson, so we don't necessarily need 2, but we need at least one more wide receiver. But honestly, at this pick, I don't think there's anyone that we desperately need. I will say this. The days of Jalen Hyatt being a great value are gone. He went at 183 in this one, but I was loving the days when we got him every single draft. He was going in round 18. Not anymore. He's going in the 16th round, sometimes the 15th round now. Same thing with Mims. The Mims and Hyatt values are kind of gone, but we got a lot of them before. But anyways, we basically have to go with another turn pick. I didn't even realize that. How many turn picks do we have? We got to go with Jerome Ford there. I don't care. Even if he missed time, you got to take that value. And then, we just got to basically take 2 wide receivers to finish this thing off. Campbell's a fine pick. I don't know if the ceiling's really there, but do we have Cincy in Minnesota? There's not going to be anyone there. All right, fine. We'll take Campbell. He's looked good at times in practice. He's just not exactly the healthiest human being in the world, so you're just hoping he can stay healthy, basically. 2 more. We've got Jared Goff at quarterback in this one. Dobbins, Javonte Williams, Elijah Mitchell. Not in love with that running back core. Good wide receivers. St. Brown, Metcalf, Judy, Godwin, Elijah Moore, Jameson Williams. That's a nice stack. Goff, St. Brown, and Williams. And Laporta. Although that was it was like a reach, but whatever. All All right, we need running back in this one. Allgeier's a good value. I don't get much Allgeier, but he's kind of the top of the rankings right now. Good ADP value. That's probably what we should go with. Him or Mostert. I do like Alec Pierce a lot on Underdog. Not in season long, but I do like him on Underdog. But I think our team needs running back a little bit more. So let's go with Allgeier. That one. And then the final one. And then I'll cruise through a few questions, and then we'll do our draft. No quarterback right now through round 10. So we got Jacobs, White, James Conner. I like that. Lamb. See, we're getting a little bit more Lamb right now. Lamb, Adams, Debo, Lockett, and Sutton. Nice. Okay, I like this team. Quarterback options for us. It probably makes sense for us to go with Cousins. I hate reaching on this range of quarterback, though. But that's the best stack. Because even, Geno's gone. Cousins would be the best stack. Because also heavy correlation with tight ends. Not going to take a running back. Odell would be fine here. I don't know that we need a wide receiver, but Odell wouldn't be a bad pick. And then Ingram. I did say I would cut myself off from drafting Evan Ingram on non-Trevor Lawrence teams. But he is a pretty good value. So the final time I will do this, because the delay will probably be too high during the Best Ball Mania one. I tried to cut down the delay, but it's still a little bit there. First to 4 votes on this one. Cousins, Odell, or Evan Ingram. Value-wise, it's Evan Ingram, but I'm not going to get Cousins the next pick. My next pick is 131. I mean, I feel like Cousins makes the most sense. Not even having a quarterback. All right, yeah. There it is. All right. We'll take Kirk Cousins. Thank you for voting for the right player there. Okay. So we're going to do a Best Ball Mania fast, but I'm going to take a few seconds. I'm going to answer, how about this? I'll answer 2 questions, start that one, and then we'll have enough time during that to answer even more questions. So the first 2 questions I see. Should I care about stacks or playoff correlations in my managed home leagues? Don't even consider a playoff correlation in your home league. You have no idea what your team's going to look like there. Stacks can matter. I don't know. If you want to stack, okay, you got Trevor Lawrence. You're deciding between Evan Ingram and someone else. I mean, leaning Evan Ingram makes sense. Not even from the standpoint of the touchdowns are worth more and the spikes like that. More from the standpoint of you're invested in this team. You think they're going to do well. You think Trevor Lawrence is going to do well. And so why not correlate that pick and take a player who's also going to do well if Trevor Lawrence does well? That's how I think about stacking. But I would never be drafted Trevor Lawrence. Got to reach for Evan Ingram. If it happens, use it as a tiebreaker. But in a managed hometown league, I really just don't think you need to be stacking. But again, tiebreaker, it's still beneficial if it's I've started with the quarterback, or maybe I've invested highly in a wide receiver. I've taken Cooper Kupp. Well, if you're deciding between someone and Stafford, Stafford makes sense, because if Cooper Kupp's having a really good year, it probably means Stafford is as well. Although, understand that also brings in the negative side. If Kupp gets hurt, Stafford stinks too. Full PPR, 12-man Superflex. You need to keep 3 of the 4 players. Okay. Trevor Lawrence, Adams, Monter St. Brown, Saquon. Wow, that's a good situation to be in. Probably if you're keeping 3, I would keep a quarterback, and so I would probably keep Trevor Lawrence. I have Adams barely ahead of Monter St. Brown, so Adams over him. In full PPR, I don't know for this person if you can start 3 wide receivers, Adams and Monter St. Brown. If you can only start 2, then I would just rotate it. Take Saquon, Adams, and Trevor Lawrence. Just get 1 of each position. When you guys have those keeper decisions like that, that's just a general strategy. That's not a bad idea. Oh, nice. We entered it quickly, and so none of you were in this one. Then steal my picks. When you've got choices, right, and you're should I keep all 3 of these wide receivers? It's well, just remember that if you keep 3 of one position in a keeper league, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen throughout the draft, and it might get to you. Everyone else kept running backs, and there's a great wide receiver value, but you're sitting there in a league that can only start 3 wide receivers, already having 3, and you're I can't take this value. And so if it's close, I do try and keep different positions. this person had, quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers. It's pretty close between the skill players. Take the top wide receiver, the running back, and the quarterback, just to allow yourself flexibility in the early rounds of the draft. How big is your lean Bijan over Chubb in half PPR? I can pull up the half PPR rankings right now. Right now, it's a 14-point projection difference, which isn't marginal. That's like a decent amount. I will say ADP-wise, it is very much trending towards... I'm not sure Chubb's going to overtake Bijan, but they're getting very, very close in ADP. I don't have ADPs up right now, but I know Chubb, on Underdog at least, has risen from pick 20 to pick 12 now. I know in redraft, it's going to follow a general thing of Underdog. If a player is rising, they're rising across the industry. They're not going to be falling on other sites. But yeah, I mean, Chubb's now a first-round pick on Underdog, meaning in redraft, especially in like standard and half PPR leagues, he's going to be a first-round pick. My lean is still Bijan, but again, it's 14-point difference. I could see it getting closer than that. So if you've got a big take, you're like, no, I don't want to take Bijan. Always goes back to what I've talked about with first like 3 to 4 rounds is just like be in love with your picks. If you're not in love with any of their first 4 picks in the draft, pick someone else because there's awesome players. If you've got a lean, you think Chubb's having this like league-winning season. I mean, I did highlight him in the league-winning running backs video, so I think it can happen too. If that's your lean, go with it. Don't be too worried. Who should you be looking at with the 8th pick? Well, I don't know anything about your league, but in general, 8th pick, you're going to be choosing between Bijan, Chubb, and some of these wide receivers. Maybe Tyreek Hill falls to you, but probably like Diggs, A.J. Brown, and that's going to come down to mock drafts. It's going to come down to how do you like your team when you start off running back versus wide receiver. You got to solve that first. You got to have a lean going into your draft if you're the 8th pick, knowing I prefer running back or I prefer wide receiver, and use that as your tiebreaker. You can't go in there being like, I don't know between this running back and wide receiver and not have done mocks and figured out which one you prefer. Typically, I historically lean running back in a redraft league. I'm assuming this was a redraft league question because you wouldn't really know your pick on an Underdog one. Is this person going to auto every time? All right. We're taking A.J. Brown. First round, just take top ranked player. Do the mocks. I lost my train of thought in that one. But do the mocks. You should know which one you're kind of doing. That's what I was saying. I prefer running back typically because if you start off wide receiver, there are also a lot of really good wide receivers at round 2. And if you force yourself into wide receiver, now you kind of can't go wide receiver in round 3 in many formats. And I kind of don't love some of the running backs you get in round 3 and round 4. Whereas there's great options at running back in like that first and second round range. So one of those 2 picks, I would try and make it a wide receiver and a running back. I'd probably try and split it if you can. But I do not mind this year, especially with wide receiver being bumped up a lot. Doing that like double running back start, like in a redraft league, if you could start off like Chubb, Saquon, it's a pretty sweet start. And there's some awesome wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks in the middle rounds. So it gets to us. Very easy choice. Very good spot to be in, honestly. Was this the 10 pick here? Yeah, the 10 pick. We basically lock in 2 stud wide receivers. There was no scenario in which we didn't. And now at pick 16, this person is very sad because they need to pick between Olave, Waddle, Barkley, Pollard, and they're all the same pick. It's a personal preference at that point, but they're going to have a worse beginning than the teams over here because they got a worse pick in round 1. They're getting basically the same pick in round 2, a later round 3 pick. So 15. Yeah, there's like 15 higher end players in Underdog right now. Other questions. Any concerns with Chase encouraging Burrow? No. Not saying that's a bad question or anything. I'm just saying no. That was just him saying, the Bengals think they're making the Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of teams think they're making the Super Bowl, but the Bengals truly believe that they can make the Super Bowl. They're a very good team. That's their focus, right? So Chase saying that is just being like, please, even if you're not like 100% certain, if you're 99% certain, just be 100% sure that you're good to go come from the injury because we don't want you to suffer a setback because that calf strain is like it's an injury that, has a high rate of setbacks. Like concern from the fact that like, yeah, maybe he ends up missing like week 1, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not like that terrible. If you're drafting on Underdog, let's say you have another quarterback, so you're going to be fine. You can use that score. It's not going to impact things long term, and the end is really what matters. You want to advance and have that stack in the end. In a redraft league, listen, there's a lot of quarterbacks. Unless you're in a 16-team league, it becomes a little bit scarier. But like, there's going to be an option in week 1 to where if you had Burrow, you can play someone else. You're going to be fine. You can find a streaming option that's going to put up a decent amount of points. And so, no, I wouldn't worry about it. But it is an indication that, like, yes, they want to be making sure that he's, like, 100% good to go. Oh, I apologize, everyone, for not pulling this up. Let's see if anything weird happened in here, and then I'll go back to the questions. I haven't been seeing... So, Cup has been falling. I don't think he should, and I've been capitalizing on when he does. I believe I got him at pick 10 yesterday, something like that. I haven't been changing the rankings too much besides that initial drop on Cup to make sure he's behind Jamar Chase in all formats. But yeah, I keep drafting Cup because he's like almost back, and we're still, I mean, it's August 8th. Like, we're not even close to we're a month away from week 1, and he's already like practicing, not fully practicing, but like he's out there running routes. Like, come on, he's going to be fine. Unless he suffers a setback. That would be bad. But yeah, nothing weird there. Waddle. I guess Mahomes at 17 is in my opinion, bad pick. Had you drafted Kelsey at 8, that makes sense. I mean, the strategy with quarterback early and Underdog here is like, be last. So whoever takes Josh Allen here is getting the best value because like they're all very, very similar. I also are getting Jalen Hurts here. I have Hurts first, so obviously I like that pick as well. Oh, this guy, that's a good start. Gets luck into Jalen Hurts here. Got Devonta Smith at 21. Tyreek Hill at 4. This is a good start. Very, very good start here. But yeah, other than that, Gibbs at 25 is early. It's not a bad pick, but it's earlier than I've seen. Christian Watson at 30 is earlier than I've seen. I believe his ADP is closer to 40. Let's see. Can I pull that up? 41. Yeah, so that's early. What are we going to do? Pick 34. I'd like one of these two. I think because we started like that, we would do Stevenson. I guess I would take Jacobs if he's there. Okay. Part of me wants to have them. I want to test people again. I want to try and get Jacobs. I got Jacobs like 42 the other day. I want to test people with Jacobs. I think Debo's a good pick here. Let's take Debo. We still have the option for my favorite build, which I don't get very often, but in my favorite build, the 5 wide receivers start, running back in 6, 2 quarterback, tight end, finish it off with like a 2-7-7-2, I think, build. I want to test people with Jacobs, but also Breece Hall. It's like a double test right here. I would take either one of them at 39 if it's available, and we would not end up going with that build. But I think taking that wide receiver gives us flexibility because you basically need 8 wide receivers on Underdog to be viable, like unless you're taking them early. So by taking the 3 early, we're opening up a build path where we can do 7, and obviously getting 3 players that are really good at football. Both get taken, so it was a moot point. It didn't even really matter. We would take Judy if he's available at this spot. Honestly, cool with any. Judy, Lamar, Keenan Allen. We can do the vote again if it gets to my spot and you guys have enough time on that one. But there's 2 picks before me. I'm thinking 2 of these are going to go, and we're just going to end up with whoever's left here. Let's see what the next question is here. You're taking over a keeper league, 2 flexes, and boosted quarterbacks. I guess I don't know what that means. You can keep Herbert in the 5th. You also have the 11th. I mean, like, I need more information than that, but we'll take Judy. So we're starting off with it. 1 more wide receiver, and we've got the classic extreme robust wide receiver build. I need more information than that. I don't know who your other keepers are, but like I like Herbert if that's what you're asking. Like, Herbert's a great pick. Kareem Hunt signed with the Saints? No. So that's what the report was that he signed with the Saints. But then, I guess, as he's landing or something, the Colts offered him more money without even seeing him. And so now he's flying to Indy, and he's going to, I think, work out with the Colts. I don't know. Unless, I mean, I haven't checked the news as of 6:15. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong and maybe sign with the Saints. That would be weird because that's a way worse situation. If you're Kareem Hunt, why would you sign with the Saints? Like, you'd be potentially inactive in many weeks after Kamara's back from suspension. It's not a long suspension. You go to the Colts. I mean, what if like JT holds out? What if JT gets traded? You're competing with what? Evan Hull and like Moss when he comes back from injury. Like, way better situation and more money. What? Why would you not? Why would you sign with the Saints? So correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And he did sign. Thoughts on Damian Harris versus Latavius Murray? You think Harris just got, oh, did he get hurt today? Seems like pretty close in camp right now. I didn't see the report that he got hurt. So I can't comment on that. It's my guess. I mean, so Latavius Murray is a player that coaches love. He's literally never hurt. Latavius Murray does not get injured ever. And he's not terrible at anything. He can do everything. He can pass block fine. He can run fine. He can be fine in the receiving game. He's just like overall fine and always available. And that's why coaches love him. You have to think a fully healthy Damian Harris is a little bit more skilled, a little bit better of a running back. And so it really depends what they value. My guess is that they would keep both of them. Long story short, though, I don't think you're drafting Latavius Murray anyways. And Damian Harris, I've been moving him down the rankings, and even when he's the top running back, it's just such an uninspiring pick that I haven't been drafting him. Just draft James Cook, and I would just leave the rest alone. But yeah, I mean, I guess Harris, from what I have read, has a slight lead in the competition. But if he gets hurt, yeah, maybe they bring in or have Latavius take over that spot. Thoughts on stacking redraft? Kind of did that one before. Talk about your process on draft day. Do you have multiple screens going? One with the rankings, one with whatever platform you're drafting from. Interesting question. Well, one of my drafts is an in-person draft. I historically had printed off, this is how old I am, printed off the rankings and used a pen and crossed off the names, and then I write the teams in the back, can't even read it by the end of it. I upgraded to using the custom rankings. So for those of you who are like, does Nick use his own custom rankings? I do. Very easy to just click drafted. So you click it, it crosses it off in an Excel sheet, makes them red, highlights everyone that you've been drafting. So I've used that. I used that last season. I will say that we draft in like a circle. And so everyone around me just looked at the rankings on the laptop. And so I didn't get as many values as I wanted. I was helping many of them out, or some of them out as well. And one of them did end up winning the championship, which was annoying. But I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I've had a thought that I might just walk into it blind and just like draft the team, and no one can copy really off anything. But I'll answer that question fully for what I would personally do in a second once we make this pick. And I think we got like a super chat or something. I'm not sure. I'm not that far on the scroll, but I will answer that question if we did get one. Okay. We'll be at pick 58. We will take Fields if he's there. We will take Hawkinson if he's there. If that doesn't happen, we will probably take Godwin and finish off and maybe complete the extreme robust. Oh my goodness. Are we going to actually do it? But if they take him, will we get one of our first shares of Deontay, actually? I'm probably going to do it. I'm probably going to take the 5 wide receivers. I'm probably just going to do that. Because I love Pierce, but I don't want to take him at this pick. I want to get one of these wide receivers. Part of me wants to get a share of Deontay. I have so much Chris Godwin. Yeah, I'm going to get a share of Deontay. Again, if the projections are relatively close, it's not always the best to have 20% Chris Godwin and 2% Deontay when you project them for 3 points difference, right? So I need to do a better job in my mind of, I'm in multiple leagues. I'm going to do 150 of these Best Ball Mania drafts. I need to be varying up these drafts a little bit. If that was my only redraft league, I'm taking Chris Godwin over Deontay Johnson. And then I'm going to make this pick, and then I'll finish off that question, by the way. So you've got the 5. That's the build. You take those 5, and then you take a running back. We are going to have options at this running back pick, but we really, really, really want Dameon Pierce. I will potentially go away from it if we can't get that, but I'd be fine. Honestly, I'd be fine with Dobbins or Miles Sanders. Dobbins would be a little bit of a risky one to do in case he's not playing to start the season, because like we are a little bit contingent on this, lead running back producing really well. And if he's not out there, like, yeah, I'm having 1 million points at wide receiver, but it makes it risky. So part of me thinks you should go, because we know Miles Sanders will be involved early in the season. So even though I have Dobbins ahead in the rankings, it feels a little bit risky for me to take him at that spot. James Conner, wow, it's 62. See if they did any other reaches. Yeah, that's 18 spots of a reach. I would not have done that. Interested to see how the team would turn out if we went with Chris Godwin at this spot, but I do believe that it is suboptimal. We will take Miles Sanders, and we have done it. We have started off with extreme robust wide receiver. The difficult part about this build is that we need multiple quarterbacks and a tight end in the next 3 rounds. And ADP wise for these drafts, it doesn't really work out. So typically you just got to push quarterback a little later and end up with one of those quarterbacks in like a little bit past this point. Because we're not going to force Tua, right? Like I don't think Tua would be a good pick for us to make here, because we don't have Tyreek Hill or Waddle. Like if I had one of them, obviously I would love Tua, but I'm not going to force one of those quarterbacks with no stacking partner. Watson would be an option though, because we can do that. But later Tua, there's no real stacking partner later unless you really want to go with Mostert. Anyways, to answer that question, the ideal setup in a non-in-person draft is a dual monitor. If you have dual monitors, or I guess one monitor and a laptop, like basically right now, I have a monitor that's staring right here, and I have a laptop, which is obviously feeding into the monitor right here, where I can see your questions basically show up on the screen. That is the best thing to do. Have the draft board fully up. It's a little bit risky doing tabs, because so on Underdog, see up here, it says 17 picks away. I don't think most platforms will do that. And so if you're doing a bunch of tabs and trying to pull up a bunch of different pages, you might just kind of miss things. And so I really would have your draft up on the screen in your main one, and then whatever you're using for the rankings on the left. Again, ideally you have an ability to cross those things off, which everyone has access to the site has that ability. It's on the the custom rankings page. Because it's if you just kind of have rankings on the left, sometimes it can get a little bit hectic, right? You're trying to search through, you're trying to scroll through, and you're going back and forth. One thing that I would say is you can also, for many sites, upload pre-draft rankings. So before your draft happens, you can, at least I know historically ESPN's allowed you to do this. I guess I don't know every site, but you can go in and set your pre-draft rankings. I would definitely do that and kind of still have them open on the left, but have it kind of filled that way. I guess I don't know every site if you're able to do that, but that would be my setup. I really would get 2 monitors. I wouldn't have too many different tabs open, and I would also practice on that. So if your draft is going on your screen right here, and you've got on the left your setup, whatever, do mock drafts. I would just use Fantasy Pros for it. And have if you're on ESPN, do composite and ESPN ADP as your 2 things. Do mock drafts, crossing things off as they happen. If you're on Sleeper, maybe do one of them. Doesn't Sleeper have mock draft lobbies and stuff like that? Go into one of those, have the rankings up, and just simulate it. Because the worst thing you can do is go into draft day having never tested out a process, because you're just going to be your mind's going to be boggled, right? So many things are going to be happening. Picks are going to be flying off the board. You're going to be trying to find people. Again, if you have the custom rankings, you can just Control F. If you can't find anyone, cross them off. It's very smooth, but I would still practice it first. But yeah, that would be my general thought there. If you are a printed paper person, I believe that is totally fine. For many years, I was a printed person. Maybe make little stars, little highlights next to people that you really want to be focusing on, just to draw your attention. Because if you have a big printed out screen, it's a little bit more difficult. And I would always, print it off by position. I didn't print off a 150. I selected positions that had a page for running back, a page for wide receiver, a page for quarterback. And that way I'm okay, I need running back. I would just flip to the running back page and look at those picks. So we're up next. jumping for joy if we get Kyle Pitts at this spot. But if we don't, we'll go with Watson. He already has a tight end. We might actually get that because he reached on Darren Waller. My goodness. He took Pitts too. That would have been a really, really nice start there. Big reach on Waller there. And the reach on George Pickens. This is too much reaching. It's too much reaching for this person. We will sadly take Deshaun Watson. It's a fine constellation prize, but it would have been really nice to get Pitts because then we could have also grabbed potentially Watson there and could have continued this build. We're still going to hold out hope that we can kind of, in general, do this build. But, possible that we can't get it. Maybe you could have gone with having quarterback in this range is very, very important. And so if the simulations are saying it, I would like to go with it. So at least grabbing one. We're not going to take Tua. So we'll grab another quarterback in this general range. And we do need to remember Cleveland. We need to get stacking partners. So who are the stacking partners? Well, Elijah, right? I mean, that's a tough call. If Addison's still available, do you take the stack with Elijah or do you take Addison? I almost want this person to take Addison so I don't have to think about that. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Tell me who I should take. I want to vote on this one. Even if he ends up taking... Or is this the guy that has auto draft? Okay, I need help on this one. Who do you guys think I should take here? Because that's really, really good value for Addison. Like, he didn't get hurt or anything, right? It's preseason depth chart doesn't matter. Oh, that's a brutal one. I think you have to go Addison. Yeah. All right. More Addisons than Moores. I think you have to. We're obviously not going to end up getting Elijah Moore, and I thought that stack would be really good. We can still get David Njoku. We can still get Donovan Peoples-Jones. Probably it. We could theoretically get Tillman in the 18th round. It's 16 spots of value. I just think you got to go for it. We've drafted every wide receiver at value. Technically a 0.2 reach there and a 2 reach there, but the wide receiver's looking nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're only drafting one more wide receiver. So we need to be very cognizant of that. One more wide receiver. We really want a tight end in this general range. David Njoku will be a top option for us. We're at pick 106. His ADP is 105.9, so we'll see if that ends up happening. Quarterbacks, if we're at 106, well, we're not going to get a stack there. So this is a stack. Where is he? Rodgers is a stack. Wilson will be a stack. And Cousins will be a stack. Okay, so we're going to have options at quarterback to create a stack. But this is in general what we're kind of looking at. And obviously we do it in order that we have it ranked. Okay. We're looking good. The super chat was have second derby pick, 2 flex redraft. What spot do you want? I don't know what you're saying. This is the same person that had the other question, right? Ashton, you do not need to provide another super chat, but I need more information as to what you're saying here. I understand 2 flex redraft. Just what spot do you want? Is that... Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. What pick do you want in the draft, I believe, is the question there. Early. I would want... ideally 1, and you can just get Justin Jefferson. But I would want 1, 2, or 3. I think that's still the best spot to be drafting at this season. Jefferson is just in really a tier of his own. I know he's still in the tier with Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, but Jefferson's such an amazing player at wide receiver that the value of getting him is awesome. I would pick number 1 if I had the option. But I would still very much 1, 2, 3, those top 3. If you've got a number 2 pick, just go in order there. Actually, I wouldn't take 3 over 2. Maybe 1 and then 3, because I don't think there's a massive difference between the 2 and the 3 pick in terms of McCaffrey versus Chase. And so basically make someone make that pick. So if you don't get the 1 pick, have someone decide between those 2 at the 2 pick. And then at the 3 pick, just take whoever's left again between Jefferson, McCaffrey, and Chase. And that, yeah, for 2 flex, that's what the general rankings would be. Because then you get a little bit of a drop off kind of after that. So 1 pick first, then 3 pick. Those would be the 2 that you'd want. All right. I think I skipped over some questions. I definitely did. Okay. What's your favorite value pick when it comes to rookie wide receivers? Value, so we're talking like later than this in the draft, I guess. I mean, Mims. Mims, Hyatt, Puka, and Michael Wilson. If we're talking, oh, I'm on the clock. We got him. Nice. We're gonna get David Njoku. Wonderful. Where did Elijah go, by the way? Okay, went 94. That's not too much value. Okay, I'll answer that question more in a second. We've got the quarterback tight end stack that we love. We're gonna have an option for one of these quarterbacks, but I would only take Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't take any of these after that. At 111, yeah, like P. Ryan, Penny, Charbonnet, like that general range would be what would be going with. Would I take Cousins or them? What is the next pick? The next pick is 130. Because at 130, we're still going to have an option for, or probably have an option for either Rodgers or Wilson. I think I don't know. I don't know what's best. I think what's best is quarterback at this spot. But I could be convinced to go running back for certain. I'm going to go Cousins. I didn't have to do that. He was top in the thing. Oh, I didn't check the bye week. That was almost an absolute disaster. I think doing Cousins is the best pick there. Again, the strategy didn't actually want the Addison pick. It wanted 2 quarterbacks and a tight end. We just make it a 1-round reversal. That's totally fine to do. Again, for the rest of this draft, we are going to take 1, 2, 4. So yeah, 1 more tight end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 more wide receiver. The rest of the picks will be running back. So I know running back looks disgusting, only having Miles Sanders. We're going to have 7. Again, I do actually think P. Ryan was a very, very good pick at that spot. And then seeing, well, Rodgers off the board. And so I guess it was risky in that, like, if Russ wasn't there at our next pick, then what do we do at quarterback? We probably would have had to probably take Goff, and then we would have wanted to attack Laporta late. That's probably what we'd have to do. But I think P. Ryan's a good pick. Although I think Javonte Williams looking like he's going to return and actually be like very, very good this season. So we'll see what that recovery looks like. Best late round tight end. Oh, and the rookie question as well. Laporta, Knox, Jawan, Hayden Hurst. Those would be the best like late round tight ends. I guess it depends what you mean by late round, but okay, Dulcich, Irv, Laporta, Hurst, Jawan. That's what I would say. For the wide receiver question, I'll pull up all the rookies here. I have to kind of just like scroll through to see everyone. I wouldn't call JSN a good value. He's a good pick, but he's not a good value. Addison, kind of the same. I got him at a good value, but in general, good pick. I wouldn't call a great value. Okay. Zay Flowers, again, good pick, not great value. I think the answers I gave before make sense. Mims, great value later on. It just depends. If you're in a redraft league, you almost don't even need to go into this range. But Mims, Hyatt, Puka, and Wilson, at least for Underdog. You don't need to be attacking rookie wide receivers heavily in a redraft league, especially because they're going to typically many of them start slow. And Russ does go. So that would have been bad for us. Many of them start slow. So many of them we trade for early. We can add off free agency, stuff like that. So we don't need to be drafting like Michael Wilson in like the 15th round of redraft league when I'm getting him in the 18th round of Underdog. Like, Dynasty startup, who should I take for a second first round pick? Who should I trade? I don't know who your team is. You want 2 elite quarterbacks? I don't know. What should I trade for a second first round pick? I would need to see your entire team, and also wouldn't call myself a dynasty expert. There are other people you should probably go to for dynasty leagues, but like for a second first round pick, I mean, are you moving up from your second rounder to your first rounder? In which case it's going to be a flip flop later in the draft. You probably have to, if you were moving up from the second round to the first round, you would probably have to go like give up your 5th round pick and take on their 7th. Like it'd have to be like 2 rounds of mid would probably be what it would take. I don't know. Yeah, it would need to be something like that. You have to do a pick swap later on, and you have to give up more rounds. Okay. We talked negatively about Damian Harris, and now he is the top running back in the rankings, and we might be drafting him. So that's fun. What's the injury say? Not when running for top spot? Yeah, we already knew that. Yeah, we knew that. I mean, like, we knew all that information. Like, we know Harris isn't vying for the top spot. Whatever. I'm taking Tank Bigsby. You can't make me not take Tank Bigsby. We're going to take Tank because, I don't know, in my mind, I'll be more upset if I don't get him at 35. So we'll do Tank and then one of Harris. If Harris is there at this next pick, we'll take a little bit more value in taking. But yeah, like we knew James Cook was the one. Now, did we know he's going to goal line? We still don't know that answer. But obviously, Damian Harris is not in line for the number 1 role. Like they've been saying all offseason that James Cook is their number 1 running back. That doesn't mean he's getting 80% of the touches, but like he's clearly their 1. But you're not drafting to be their 1. We're in the late, I guess that was the late 11th. This is the early 12th round. We're not drafting 1s. Is Jaylen Warren in the running for the 1? Is Elijah Mitchell in the running for the 1? Of course not. So I wouldn't worry about that headline too much. But I would worry about whatever this suspicious injury is. Can someone give me an update on if this man is a torn ACL and I'm about to draft him? That would be nice to know. And that is actually an actual call out, not a rhetorical question. Can someone please tell me if he's tore his ACL before I select him in a $25 draft? But if not, if I get no guidance from the chat, maybe I'll just take Jaylen Warren. I don't know. You guys have 13 seconds to someone tell me if he did in fact not tear his ACL. Minor, lower. All right, minor. I'm fine with that. We'll go with Harris. All right, that's fine. Thank you, Royal Awesome. All right. Where were we? How long do you get access to your website if you use the code on Underdog? I mean, all packages are theoretically through the season, so through the Super Bowl, basically. But the Underdog thing is only giving you like draft stuff and Underdog. So you're going to get anything Underdog related. If it's related to Underdog, you're going to get it. So like in season, that would be like their pick'em stuff. I don't really make rankings for like the draft for Underdog, like in season weekly. But anything Underdog related, and then draft rankings. So you have access to the draft rankings all year, but like you're probably not doing drafts in week 7. I mean, I suppose you could, and you could use the draft rankings. But yeah, you have draft rankings, anything Underdog. So you're not going to have like in-season rankings, if that's what you're asking. Crazy league settings. Great. 0.2 points per rush attempt. Okay. 0.2 points per pass completion. 6-point passing touchdown. You lean running back heavy early. Quarterbacks like Burrow, Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. What are your thoughts? Yeah, you got to lean running back. I guess I don't know if it's PPR. I have to assume it's full PPR. If it's not, wide receivers just get bumped out the window because you should be starting a running back in your flex spot every week. They're getting 0.2 per carry. That's a very, very nice floor. Plus, they still get the receptions as well. So yeah, running back early. 6-point passing touchdown doesn't just like skyrocket. It's the 0.2 per pass completion that definitely bumps it up. Especially if there's no negative for incompletion. So I was in the Scott Fishbowl like 5 years ago. I entered that thing or something like that. They had it so where it was like -1 for an incompletion. So you needed those like super accurate quarterbacks. Yeah, you just want those gunslingers. Like you want, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert. Who else would be like Kirk Cousins could have a ton of pass attempts this season. Definitely, I would look at the premium rankings or the detailed rankings, detailed projections, and I would sort by pass attempts, and I would just make a little star in the rankings next to like, or do something in the rankings, whatever you're using, next to people who are like top 7 in pass attempts, just like highlighting the fact that like they are very, very likely to have a very consistent season. And they are potentially the ones that are going to have those like 50 pass attempt games, which is what, 10 points? 10 points in your format? I mean, a 50 pass attempt game giving you a 10-point floor plus all the points you were getting before. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So do that, basically. Can you expand on the Chicago-Miami backfield? Yeah, I mean, I don't really draft Chicago backfield people. I really liked Khalil Herbert to begin the offseason. Then we had all those reports about it definitely being a committee, about Roshan, if he shows up in pass protection. From some of the beat writers were saying that, like, they don't like Herbert in pass protection. If Roshan is taking all those snaps, that, like, that's not great. It's not really a prolific backfield for fantasy production because Fields just takes all the touchdowns. So I don't really target them. But if it was, it would be like Roshan if he falls late. Really, anyone who falls late, honestly. If Roshan falls late, if Herbert falls late, take them. I wouldn't take both. And then Miami, it's almost the same thing, actually. But I like them a little bit more. The problem is with that one, it's still like that black cloud of like, is Dalvin Cook going to sign? And if Dalvin Cook doesn't sign, A-Chain and Mostert are really, really good picks. And I almost think he's not going to sign with them because they're both producing really well in camp. The team is clearly behind them. And so, hold on a second. We need running backs. One more wide receiver. Are we going to waste that wide receiver pick on Mingo? No, we're not going to do that. We need a tight end at some point. We're not going to take any that are on the board right now. So we will take the top of running back. Okay, Singletary. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with Singletary. I love Pierce. Love him. That backfield actually has a lot of receptions up for grabs, believe it or not. Rex Burkhead had a lot of receptions last year. Going to be the two. Clear upside. Like, obviously, Singletary is a feature back, basically, if Pierce gets hurt. So love Pierce. I think Singletary is a perfectly fine value pick this late. And that's really what we're looking for with all these 7 is let's just hammer out. People stop taking running backs, people. We just want to hammer out a bunch of solid options. Another solid option that we were just talking about before, Raheem Mostert. Might as well take him. Then I'll pull this up. Yeah, so why I don't think Dalvin's going to sign, basically, is Miami's looking at this being like, we like A-Chain. We like Mostert. They're playing really well. Why would they give Dalvin Cook a bunch of money when, I respect the running backs. The market's really tough for them. There is some truth to the fact that, like, running back only matters so much. Like, the exact running back you have on the field only matters so much. Is Dalvin probably better than those two? Yes. Is he marginally better, though? Yes. You spent a pick on A-Chain in the draft. You want to develop him. Mostert seems healthy. Great. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, the reports from Mostert are really, really, really good right now. They're using him in the receiving game in camp. He's looking explosive. Like, they can just rotate A-Chain and Mostert 50-50 evenly and produce really, really well for this team. And so if Dalvin signs with New York, he signs with some other team, I'm thinking A-Chain and Mostert are going to go way up in ADP. I mean, I think Mostert would probably be a top 125 pick. So I've been kind of drafting him a lot in this 160 range, hoping that happens with the understanding that if Dalvin Cook does sign, he's going to go way down in value. But hey, I have 7 running backs in this build type, so I can kind of take that chance. But those are my thoughts. Favorite position to pick in half PPR. So like the ninth time that question's been asked in these drafts. Again, I want to reiterate one thing. That only matters so much this season. I actually think this season is very even. I loved this draft spot. This 10 pick here is a great spot because it allows you to really just get a rock solid wide receiver or running back. If you wanted to go with Nick Chubb at that spot, I'd be totally fine. Rock solid player there, and then you just get a superstar. Like Garrett Wilson is a superstar. I just got AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson, 2 superstars in the league. That's really, really good. But I also like having an early pick, right? I like getting one of Jefferson, Chase, or McCaffrey because like this guy got McCaffrey, Olave, and Higgins. That's a really good start as well. Getting Jefferson, Allen, Gibbs, really good start as well. I would say the mid picks are the ones I don't like the most because you're kind of forced to choose between some players that are very similar to this the back half of the first round. And then you do oftentimes just miss out on these superstar wide receivers and you're beginning a range that's kind of similar. So the polls would be my favorite. Typically top 3 pick in the beginning portion. And then I would say like, yeah, I mean, top 3 and back 3, honestly, in a 12-team league. 1 through 3, 10 through 12 would be my favorite. And then you would just slowly expand inwards from there. Apologize for bringing that up too much over there. Cup at 10, did actually, I was going to say, yeah, I was at 11. He went at 9 in a different one. I was like, oh, that would have been insane. But yeah, I think I got him at pick 10. It was like Cup and, I got one of these wide receivers. I don't remember if it was like Adams or Garrett Wilson, but yeah, people are getting kind of crazy there. If you had to pick between, I was looking where my spot was. If you had to pick between a high-end tight end, Andrews Hawkinson, a top 3 quarterback, what do you prefer? Excellent question. Let's pretend I got them at a good value too. I think, I need to think about that. So basically, would I rather have Mark Andrews in like the mid-3rd round, like this guy got Pacheco, I think it's Isaiah, or like Justin Herbert? Those are just like 2 that I really like, so let's use those as an example. Or getting Justin Herbert in like the 5th or 6th round, something like that. Running back drop-off. Dang, we just missed a lot of them. Ford, Spears, Gainwell, Zeke, seriously go like all the picks right before us. That's tough. We still have our wide receiver pick that we haven't done. Shaheed's going to miss time with an injury. Samuel's always hurt. We do need our tight end still. That's not good. What if we took Shaheed and hope that he's healthy later in the season? That might be the move. Oh, it's ugly. Because we can't do that. I'm not taking a running back. I refuse. That stinks. But yeah, Shaheed, I don't know if he's going to be healthy to start the season, but under this build, we don't need that. So we're good. Week 1 happens. Week 2 happens. We don't have Shaheed. That's fine. We're going to get plenty of production right here. I really wanted to save that pick for 18, but gross. We just missed it. Okay. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to need 2 more running backs. I think we can wait on running back. Jawan or Hayden Hurst. I think I want to go with Jawan. By week 11, by week 5. Good. Okay. Hayden Hurst would have been fine at that spot because I really do think Hayden Hurst is a good pick. I didn't take Chuba because I guess I could have double dipped and just taken Chuba and Miles and just locked up all the running back points for Carolina. I don't know. Something about Chuba just doesn't feel right to me. They might use like Blackshear there. Like I don't know. Something about Chuba doesn't feel right. But our next pick, we're going to need to take 2 more running backs. We'll want Fournette. We'll want Chase Brown. Maybe we take a shot on Kareem Hunt if he's going to sign with the Colts. Zamir White, Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, and then usually you're good there. Usually you don't have to go beyond that general range. But yeah, okay, to answer that question, it basically comes down to what do you think of the mid quarterbacks versus the late tight ends? And I guess I'd feel more confident if I missed out on Herbert and I got one of like Daniel Jones, honestly, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Jared Goff. If I got one of them, I don't think that is actually a massive downgrade from some of these mid-range quarterbacks, whereas like Mark Andrews down to some of the later ones. But I will say, if you're worried about spending that early pick, you could also target like I guess Waller's rising right now, but target Waller a little bit later than Hawkinson. So like if you're worried about, taking like Andrews or Hawkinson a little bit early, don't take them. Maybe still get Herbert and then take Waller a little bit after that, like Waller or Kyle Pitts, something like that. But yeah, I feel better about taking these other quarterbacks than I do guessing right between because I like some of these tight ends, but like guessing right on like Jawan, Knox, Laporta, Higbee. I think some of them can be fine, but it's going to be difficult to really like hit in those spots. So I guess that would be my answer. Thoughts on the rise of Ridley because of one training camp clip? I have not seen the clip, but I'll say I think it's more a consistent, just like every day the reports from Ridley are good. Like every single update we get is, yup, he's the one. Yup, he looks like a superstar. He looks special. Like they're all saying that. And if people also, it's pretty easy to buy into Trevor Lawrence. We thought he was going to be a really good quarterback when he came into the league. He had the down year and the horrible situation. But like it's so easy to buy into the Jaguars that I don't think it's like a clip. I just think he's good. I think people are really, really realizing that. But I will say it's getting a little bit absurd. Where'd he go today? 19? Come on. Like that's getting ridiculous, right? I have him ranked, I believe you can check. But I think around like 33. Like this is a phenomenal range. Right next to Amari Cooper and Deebo Samuel. 19 is not a good pick. That's too early. Top 3 quarterback. I'm assuming that person was asking about that same question. That person was answering that one. Okay. Thoughts on the rise? Okay, we already did that one. You just started Kelsey Smith Stevenson. That's a good start. You did your draft yesterday, 10-team PPR, ended up with a wide receiver core of CeeDee Lamb, Ridley, Olave, London, and Hollywood. Jeez. Nice. That's a really good start. Got Herbert at quarterback, Ramondre, Bijan. Yeah, you're going to win the league. Herbert at quarterback, you also have, how'd you even start that draft? You have Ramondre, you got Bijan first, then CD, then Olave, then Ridley? How was Ramondre in there? ESPN ADP is atrocious. Oh, it certainly is. If you're doing drafts right now for an ESPN league, you got to be so happy because it's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. They had until recently, I think, wasn't Derrick Henry super high in their pre-draft rankings, but regardless, I don't know why the ADPs are so bad on ESPN. Oh, I'm back to the Addison time. Take the value. Yep. Are the custom rankings working properly? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. For anyone who ever has problems with the custom rankings, watch the video. Most of the time, people just aren't sorting by value. When you change stuff, it changes value. So you got to sort by it again because you got to resort by what's sorting everything. We're going to take Chase Brown here. I was hesitating because I forgot if I did the build. We did it. We did a... Is this one the extreme robust wide receiver? I don't actually remember. No, I think extreme robust wide receiver was 7 straight or something ridiculous. But whatever this one is, it is theoretically the highest rated in terms of average fantasy points scored by any build type. Here it is. Watson, we've got a stack with David Njoku, so that's good. Kirk Cousins stacked with Addison, so we've got our stacks down. Running backs, Miles Sanders, Tank Bigsby, Damian Harris, Devin Singletary, Mostert, Fournette, and Chase Brown. A lot of scrubs, but a lot of them. We only need 2 scores each week. Wide receiver, going to be awesome for us. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, Judy, Deontay, Jordan Addison, and Rashid Shaheed when he comes back. And then David Njoku, and Jawan at tight end. I think it's a very, very good build. We did just miss out on some value at different points. The biggest one was Pitts. That would have been sweet if we'd gotten Pitts at like a round of value, but it is what it is, right? Have you done any guillotine leagues? I've not done any, so I can't give any advice for that. Running backs were not, though. Royal Awesome. Like the quarterbacks went. They were not available at my next pick. Are you going to make a video on salary leagues? Probably not, because it is weird. You look at like the amount of time at the beginning of the offseason. You're like, oh, there's like 3 months, right, until week 1. Of course I can fit things in. And then you start like putting in the videos and you're like, well, Mock Draft Monday goes every Monday. And I have to release these rankings on Wednesdays, and the breakdowns are on Thursdays, and I do ADPs on Saturdays and Underdog on Sundays, and you're like, wait a minute, there's no videos left. So it's like not a bunch of time, but salary was added to the custom ranking. Salary, there's a new page on the site that gives you the best the best values for auction. So if you just like click 5, pick best values, it's just going to show you all the players who are the best priced. You've been watching your picks. You just pick to the top. You stick with the picks that come to you. No reaching much. I've been watching your picks, and so your pick is usually near the top. You stick with the top picks. Well, just to be very clear, these are my rankings. Like everything over here is my rankings uploaded. So yeah, I pick near the top because like that's in my head. That's where I have people ranked. So I should be picking near the top. If you don't upload rankings, what'll show up here is just ADP, which is still a fine way to draft. If you want to just draft with a general strategy, deviate a little bit from ADP, but just try and get values. But yeah, just to be clear, these are my rankings. And if you want to upload my rankings to here, all you got to do, sign up for Underdog using promo code FFA. Minimum $10 deposit. The next morning, if it's after 9 a.m., don't email me about that. You will get login information to the site. You can easily click download CSV, upload it to Underdog. It's incredible. Like, I love that they allowed us to do this, because many times I literally like only join slow drafts, right? You guys saw how many slow drafts I am in over here, right? I am in all of these slow drafts. I'm not always at a computer when I end up doing these drafts, right? I'll pull up my exposures, by the way, just so you guys have something to look at. I'm not always at my computer in time to make the picks and stuff. So like being able to draft from your phone and just have the rankings up there is super, super valuable. So again, if you want that, sign up using promo code FFA. They'll match up to $100. So if you put in like 75, they'll bump it to 150. So they're going to double your deposit. That's going to help. I know soon they're going to release another low dollar buy-in. So you look right now and you're like, oh, there's only a $25 draft for Best Ball Mania. They're going to release like another, hopefully another Pomeranian, the $3 one with no rake. They're going to release another low dollar one very, very soon, maybe even tomorrow. Maybe it's even up right now. I haven't checked. They're going to release that. And then you're also going to get the draft rankings too. So if you're also in like a redraft league, you're going to get those rankings as well. A few questions, and then we'll get out of here. What's the earliest you'd be comfortable drafting an elite quarterback like Hurts in a 12-man PPR with a standard setup? Ideally, I like third. I like to have the first 2 rounds go by because it's also not the end of the world if you miss out. There are a lot of good quarterbacks. You want to get quarterback at value. So I wouldn't be one of the people that are reaching at like early second round or something like that. But yeah, as soon as the third round starts, I'm good with any of them. What's your thoughts on going 3 to 4 scrub tight ends last picks of the draft? Assuming we are talking about Underdog, I like that strategy. I think it's a very viable strategy, especially if we're thinking about not having like dead lineups, not having dead players in the lineups. We know which tight ends are at least going to be involved. Are they going to be amazing? No, but we're just trying to hit on random touchdowns. So I like it, especially because like there are some really good tight ends later on. It is a viable build. 3 to 4 tight ends in the last picks and just loading up and everything before that, especially Hayden Hurst. I don't know that I have enough of him, but Hayden Hurst, he just like shouldn't be going as lazy as. But yeah, Hayden Hurst, Laporta's good. Not really going the last three, but like Knox. If you could get like Knox, Hayden Hurst, and what would be a last pick? Like Jawan's going in that range as well. Maybe Likely, something like that. That's a really good like end to the draft. Also, if you guys are wondering, these are my favorite picks. Basically, these are the people who I have drafted the highest percentage, spent the most money drafting on. Like, these are who I think the best picks in the drafts are. Jonathan Taylor going down right now. I'm very much hoping that he's going to, play this season. But yeah, I'll do a little bit of a scroll here. You can see a little bit more. How accurate do you think ADPs are this year? What round should you stop playing the ADP game? You should never stop playing the ADP game in terms of if you're drafting someone and their ADP, you're drafting two players and they're very, very close to each other in the rankings. One player is probably going to be there at the next pick and one isn't. Take the one that isn't, even if they're like one spot behind in the rankings. Always do that because you're just going to get the best team. How accurate are ADPs right now? Underdog ADPs are incredibly accurate. Everything else is incredibly inaccurate. So if you're drafting on Yahoo, NFL, ESPN, they're not great. If you're asking about when do you stop worrying about ADPs when getting the players you want, like round 12. Once you hit round 12, don't worry about being like, oh, I really want this player, but like their ADPs in 2 rounds, grab them. ADP doesn't really matter at like round 12 or not. All right, last question. Sorry if you already answered this. Is it bad to target players from the same offense like Bijan and London? No, but it's bad to go overboard if you're not confident. We are confident in the Chargers. If you want to draft Eckler, Quentin Johnston, and I don't know, Gerald Everett, like maybe that's something. Or maybe, I guess a better one is probably Eckler, Herbert, and Quentin Johnston, something like that. Totally fine because we're pretty sure the Chargers are going to be good. A little bit more risk with drafting Bijan and London because I think they're going to be good, but there is still a chance that a Desmond Ridder-led offense isn't good, so you're adding a little bit of risk there. So it depends on the quality of offense, but like Bijan and London is fine. I did a mock draft recently that I uploaded where I had Bijan, London, and Pitts. That is probably a little bit too aggressive. Had I realized that during the draft, I would have probably shied away. So 2 is fine, especially different positions. Like I wouldn't really want to do, I don't know, what's a bad team? Patriots, bad team. I wouldn't want to go like Juju and Parker. Because now you're taking 2 wide receivers on an offense that's not great. What are the odds that they both work out as picks and you know who to start? Low. But if you had to draft Sky Moore and you want to take a shot on like Justin Ross late or something like that, sure, it's, Kansas City. So it's like it depends on the offense. But typically, if you're going to do 2, you want different positions and you'd prefer it be a good offense. So, I'm supposed to show this so I don't get in trouble. Remember that you can use promo code FFA. They'll match your deposit. You get a bunch of stuff the next morning. But also remember, a ton of you who don't think you can do Underdog can. The only people who are not eligible are in black. There are very few states here that are in black, and that's not eligible for both Pick'em and drafts. I live in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is gray. I cannot do Pick'em in New Hampshire. I have to drive about 5 minutes down to Mass if I want to do like a Pick'em thing. For those of you in one of these black states, let's say you are in Louisiana. If you drive to Texas, if you drive to Arkansas, I'm not going to do the rest so I don't screw up. If you drive to these different states, then enter a draft and come back, you're good. You can keep doing the draft in your state. Just a little shout out there. But yeah, read this chart. The vast majority of you actually can play. Unless you're in the black here, you can do an Underdog draft, which is what we're doing here. It's what I would suggest. And of course, responsible gaming. Do not play more than you are able to play and seek help if you think you have any sort of problem. So tomorrow, like a 51-minute video for you guys doing wide receiver rankings. Thursday is going to be a breakdown of Mixon, Etienne, and someone else. Gibbs? I think it was maybe Gibbs in that one. And then Friday, I think I'm doing the best pick in every round, but it also might be the worst pick in every round. I don't remember which one it's going to be. But that'll be the end of this one. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys on the stream next week.